What is just a placebo effect, but most people don't realize it? Story 1. As a former lifeguard, I can assure you that whatever cleanup you see lifeguards doing after someone vomits in the pool is almost certainly just a show. There isn't really anything you can do. You just let the filter and the chlorine take care of it and pretend to clean up to please the suburban moms. Story 2. I once spoke to a guy involved in developing the first ATM cash machines. Early trials showed that users thought that the dispensing of cash happened too fast, and they didn't trust that it had correctly debited their account for the right amount. So, they inserted a wait cycle to make it appear that the machine was counting the cash. The wait cycle is still there today in most machines. A lot of scans do this as well. Not virus scans though, those just actually take a damn long time. But sites that show you the best deals are often done in 100 milliseconds. They're not really doing anything that intensive, just make a few requests to AutoTrader or whoever, which probably only returns 15 cars, and then sort by lowest price. But people wouldn't believe it was the best price if it came back instantly. They wouldn't think it looked hard enough, so they made them wait a little bit. I've definitely used a background check website that goes through a big elaborate series of scanning records, progress bar animations, and they even divide it into segments sometimes, like checking criminal records, checking property records, and so on. But here's the thing. They only do all this rigmarole if you search for someone's name on the main site, before you've made an account. After you make an account, the exact same searches are just done instantly. Story 3. I install commercial audio and video systems. On bigger, more involved jobs like stadiums and arenas, we have AV consultants who don't work for my company, but are a big link in the chain as far as designing and EQing the finished system. I don't know how many times I've been up in an 80-foot boom lift, and they want the azimuth or down angle of a speaker adjusted by some ridiculously small amount. So you get back up there, bang a couple of wrenches on the speaker, and don't actually move anything. How's that? Oh yeah, that sounds better. Works every time. There was a similar story involving Michelangelo's carving of David. Nearing its completion, one of his sponsors stopped by to see the work, and upon looking at it, suggested that Michelangelo adjust the nose a little bit. Knowing that this sponsor was incredibly fickle, and any further adjustment of the nose would cause the statue to look out of proportion in the face, Michelangelo decided to grab his chisel and hammer, along with some marble dust that had accumulated nearby, and pretended to chisel at the nose, slowly dropping the dust from his chisel hand so it appeared to be falling from the chisel itself. After a few minutes of work, he came down and asked the sponsor what he'd thought, to which the man exclaimed how perfect it was, but literally nothing had changed. It was all theatrics to make the man think that his opinion made the statue better, so that his sponsorship money kept flowing. Story 4. When I worked and trained tech support, our agents would always get pushback from customers when we asked them to power cycle their phones, which 9 times out of 10 would fix their issue. So I had them tell the customer to read some numbers off the back of the battery, which we absolutely did not need, but it got the customer to remove the battery from the back of the phone back when you could do so. Then we told them that we refreshed a few systems and they put their battery back in and everything was fixed. Alternatively, when batteries couldn't be removed, we'd tell them that if the phone was powered on while we did the update, it could ruin their SIM card. So they made sure to power off their phone. I'd sit there for a minute and do nothing, then they'd turn their phone back on and it worked great. But if I told them to power cycle their phones, no way. I absolutely love this story because it's so true. Just 2 days ago, I told a client to close his web browser and reopen it to fix an issue on our page. He'd complained of it seeming slow today, despite videos from several team members demonstrating that it wasn't. So he closed and reopened and voila, it was fixed. Actually, he'd had the browser open for months and it was gobbling memory and needed a restart. So, 2 birds, 1 stone. Story 5. When cake mixes first came out, you only had to add water to them, but too many housewives felt like that was cheating and wouldn't buy the cake mixes. So the cake mix companies added another step, the eggs. And it worked. Apparently, the cracking and adding of the eggs to the batter was enough to make it feel more homemade, and the cake mixes became extremely popular. Story 6. I do commission creative stuff. If I deliver same or next day, people don't think I spent enough time on it. But if I wait 3 or so days to deliver, people are happy because they assume I worked on their project non-stop. even though I was actually done a day or two prior. I'm a freelance artist, and once I painted my client's dog portrait with acrylic. I took photos and sent it to her, and she said she wanted to fix some part of it, like the hair was too dark and the mouth was a little bit too big. A few hours later, I accidentally resent the photo I sent her before again. She immediately replies, "Yes, this is exactly what I wanted." I haven't touched up anything more, but okay. There's a lot of fields, especially in the blue collar world, where it's kind of an unspoken rule that you don't pay the worker for their time on the job, you pay for their experience on the job. Which is why, say, a plumber with 35 years of experience changing your faucet can charge $145 for a half hour. Because it didn't take them half an hour to perfectly install your faucet so it works the first time. It took them 35 years. The nice thing, though, is if you don't like that rule, there's always someone cheaper who has less experience. Story 7. That minty, fresh, zesty, clean feeling you get from toothpaste. It started as a marketing strategy and just caught on. Now almost all toothpaste is mint because we associate the minty freshness with cleanliness. Edit. Aw, shucks. Silver? Thanks, guys. It's my first. I had no idea so many people hated mint. Story 8. Loading spinners on web pages. I once had a user complain to me that a web app was too slow, so I tested him by making the custom animation spinner spin much faster. He went to my boss to praise me for how much faster the web page was. Not even a spinner, but we added a message after loading that said nearly there when we got it to the next step. And we got instantly fewer slow loading complaints. Story 9. Not sure if it's really a placebo, but there is research done on how a car door should sound when you close it. A flat and boring sound would do just fine, but a lot of people find that soft, plush yet firm sound reassures them the door is closed. My friend's husband is a sound engineer. I don't know if that's the right word, but we'll go with it. And this is exactly what he does all day. His entire job is making sure that car stuff sounds right. They do the same kind of thing for hybrid cars like the BMW i8 to make them sound faster and sportier, except using animal sounds. Apparently a backwards lion's roar is a perfect bass for a V8 engine. Story 10. Drinking Canada Dry ginger ale helps with an upset tummy. It doesn't. They were sued because their ginger ale has no ginger in it. To make it worse, that was the only stuff that helped when I had the stomach flu as a kid. I got the stomach flu a lot too, so when they took the ginger out, that wasn't a fun time for me. I always wondered about this one, so I figured I'd look it up for this question. Apparently they do use real ginger, but they basically destroy its medicinal value during the process of mixing and bottling everything. So it might be for flavoring, but doesn't do much else. Story 11. Astronomer here. Police and hospital workers may swear otherwise, and always argue when I say this, despite numerous studies. But there is no significant correlation that has been found between more crazy behavior and the full moon. People just tend to notice when there's a full moon, and it's a particularly busy night. After all, you're not going to note the phase of the moon when it's a new moon, and thus literally no moon in the sky to note. Edit. Wow, a lot of people really don't like this one. But for those arguing the moon's gravity is to blame, the force of the moon pulling on you is far less than even the force of the person standing next to you. Like for those arguing the moon makes your water break, the doctor standing next to you has more of a pull on you than the moon. The only reason the moon affects the tides with water is because of the vast scales involved. And your body is insignificant compared to an ocean. Alright, now we hop into the rapid fire segment of the video for stories too short to make a full entry out of, but too good to be left out. Let's get to it. Awards on Reddit. The airplane that mom feeds you? I don't think it's really an airplane. Beats headphones have weights inside them to make them heavier and give the illusion of quality and sturdiness. It's also a similar thing for TV remotes as well. The original Febreze was unscented, but nobody believed it worked, so they added scent to it. As an IT person, giving users a new monitor will make them swear their computer's faster. I do exactly the same thing with new car parts. At one time, Google Docs intercepted the Control-S shortcut and briefly changed the cursor to the thinking hourglass cursor, even though it autosaved everything already. The exaggerated sounds of some vacuum cleaners, microwaves, and cars are there to make them sound more powerful. If Gran Turismo has taught me anything, it's that washing your car adds 5 to 10 horsepower. My dog's medicine coming out of his treat tin instead of medicine packaging makes a seconds ago disgusting medicine taste mysteriously like a treat. Who else mashed the down and A buttons on the DS or Game Boy when they were trying to catch a Pokemon? I definitely did this. Also, during certain games like Oblivion, I would push the left joystick the direction of the loading bar because I could have swore that the loading bar occasionally gets a sudden burst when you do that. I could have swore it worked, but if nothing else, at least it made the loading screens a little less boring to sit through. So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'm ReddList. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.